The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show. All right, question. Would love some tips on door-to-door sales for residential areas that have my ideal clients. I love this question. So everyone, this is for you. I just like with Marty, I wouldn't encourage you to go door-to-door sales because it's just a bad use of your time.
Well, it wouldn't be me. It'd be one of my employees.
Fine. Still bad use. Okay. I would encourage you to create a marketing system that got people to raise their hand and sell to them. It is really hard to, all of you guys called us. If I just cold call, like you're like, teach me how to, like if I just cold call, I'm like, hey, Brigham, I don't know anything about your business. I don't know anything. I just know I'm a coach and I got great services and you should hire me. That is a tough vibe, man. You don't know me. You don't trust me. I don't even know if you want services, right? Like it's like going to supermarket and asking a girl out. I don't know. She's married. She might be, I don't even know if that's what she's looking for. Right. But if I, did some marketing, i.e. I got on some sort of app or dating service, at least I know that people are looking for that thing. Right? At least I know that girl's single and looking for a date. So I'm going to spend all of my time there as opposed to, so I would create a door hanger and have your guy hang doors, or a telemarketer, or any of the stuff that you do, local service ads. I would do some sort of lead generation service. So people are raising their hands. Like when we say we get 200 or 300 appointments per month, that's people calling us. We don't do any like calling them. If we did call them, it would just be a hey, if you need help, listen to here's some free stuff. It wouldn't be we don't do any direct sales for people that we cold call. We would only be like, if you're interested, call us. Does that make sense?
So yeah, it does. So as far as door hangers, just hang them in areas that your ideal clients are at.
So same thing. If you're, first of all, like we talked about earlier, I'd love to get your residential or commercial. But even if you're not going to fire some portion of it, at least your marketing plan has got, you definitely got to pick. So it's exactly the same thing I told Marty, pick your niche. If it's going to be residential, you'll probably just pick 2 or 3 separate neighborhoods. If you go to that marketing plan in your tracker, there's a sample residential marketing plan. There's a sample residential, sample commercial. Literally just copy that bad boy to your actual, delete the things you're like, I don't feel like doing that. If there's something you want to do that's not in there, add it, and then just open a help ticket. Be like, hey, Mike, how's this look as a marketing plan? And let's do that. But you see how we don't want to just do random door knocking or even a door hanger. Like if we do a door hanger, I want to be like, I'm going to do, I've got this neighborhood. There's 300 perfect prospects there. I'm going to buy 1,000 door hangers now. I'm going to do 300 a month for the next 3 months, or 300 every 3 weeks for the next 9 weeks. It's going to have this offer. That's going to cost me $500 to get them printed and hung. I expect to get 7 leads, 2 sales. Okay. And on that, I'm going to do local service ads and then telemarketing. So you want to have a marketing plan that you're working towards that's generating leads coming to you. I would never, I'm not saying you can't do it. It's just so hard, especially for it's like, oh, I got a guy that's a tech who's not even a sales guy, and I'm going to give him the hardest sales job in the world. Like go knock on doors like a door-to-door salesperson. Those guys, I promise you, the guy that's good at door-to-door sales can make a couple $100,000 a year. It is a very rare skill. So just having a tech be like, go knock on Mrs. Johnson's door and sell her my crap. You're probably not going to have a lot of luck or success, and he's probably going to quit.
Okay. And then, so I'll go do that with the door hangers.
We'll make your marketing plan first.
Yeah, I'll do the marketing plan.
And even if your marketing plan's like $200 a month on local service ads and $300 a month on door hangers, it doesn't have to be fancy. Like I give you 4 or 5 or 6 things. Pick the 1 or 2 or 3 you like. It doesn't have to be anything, but because when we go to tracking to see if it's successful, I want to make sure I look at your numbers of your projected ad spend and leads. So I can go, yeah, that's reasonable. And you're not like thinking you're going to spend $9 and get 1 million leads. And then B, when we track it, you're like, oh, I'm succeeding. You're not succeeding. So we want to, for all of you guys, I'm trying to turn you into repeatable, scalable, dependable business owners, not, some billboard guy called me and got me all hyped up on billboards. So I gave him money, or the Facebook ads guy, or the direct mail guy, or the, what's it called? Money mailer guy, or the fill in the blank guy. There's this guy trying to sell you some crap. We want to, and I shouldn't even say crap, some stuff that could be good, but I want to teach you in a more regimented way of thinking about marketing within a plan, within a goal. Like with Marty, we kept going, well, what's the goal? How many leads, bid, sales do we have? Now, what's the plan to generate those leads? Because oftentimes marketing, and I'm doing the big air quotes, doesn't work. But what that really means is you paid for the data as opposed to a positive return on investment. And we can use that data to tweak the marketing plan and get a positive ROI next time. But most people just knock on doors and go, didn't work. And I'm like, how many doors did you knock? How many conversations did you have? How many offers did you make? What was the offer? How many people said yeah? And you're like, I don't know any of that stuff. I'm like, so we don't know if it worked. We know you did something and didn't get the result that you want, but that's nothing. Or I did door hangers, they didn't work. What was a door hanger? What was the offer? How many did you hang? How many calls did you get? When did you respond to the call? Like you see, and you're like, oh, that sounds like a lot of work. I'm like, I know, that's why everyone doesn't have $1 million business. So you just want to do it right. And there's got to be an infrastructure of here's the plan. I'm going to track the results. We can compare the results to the plan. If they did as well or better, we continue and add another thing that we're testing. If it didn't do as well or better than we thought, we tweak or throw away, and we just do it in a very methodical way. So might you get lucky and first thing you do, which happens for our clients all the time, kicks ass and takes names? Absolutely, happens all the time. Might you need 2 or 3 months to really get a plan that works with 2 or 3 failures? Yeah, that happens all the time too. But the most common thing that happens, especially if you're not getting training, is you do one thing, you deem it not working, although you don't really have any data to back it up. And then you go, that didn't work, and quit. And then you give up. So we definitely want to avoid, you're going to buy one of 2 things with your ad spend and your time. Positive ROI, great. Negative, meaning I spent $200 and I got $400 in recurring revenue, great. Negative ROI, I spent $200 and I got $100 in recurring revenue, which is still long-term positive. Or data. And the problem is a lot of people don't track the data and they don't know what to do with that data. So when you spend the $200 and you got, or 500 or whatever the number is, and you got the data, but you didn't collect the data, or you and I don't look at the data together, now you paid for the data, but you're not really getting any benefit. So I want to make sure in the worst case scenario, at least you get your data, and that data can be super valuable. Like if I went to sell my company, it wouldn't be the revenue and the profit, which is good. It would be, here's the way that we get leads. Here's how we convert them into bids. Here's how we convert bids into sales. That's wildly valuable. People pay a lot for that. So I want to make sure you guys have that, not just, well, when I need clients, I put out a door hanger. I don't even know what that means. Like, okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Not trying to bust balls. I just want to see you do well.
Yeah. I had one other quick question about what Axel was saying with the LSAs. I've been noticing that every single call, not every call, but majority, 80%, their first question is, what is the price? I'm calling around. And that is a little red flag for me, like, because I'm not the cheapest and I don't want to be the cheapest. And so when they first ask, well, what is your price? Sometimes they say I'm shopping around, then that's a really red flag. I'm like, I'm typically not your ideal person. But
so let me jump in with 2 things. One, local service for everybody, and they're getting more expensive. They used to be just crushing it. Now they're just really good. Local service ads are super cheap. Oftentimes you'll get leads for $5 to $25, which is very inexpensive. Like Facebook, Instagram, paid traffic, or Google, you might be paying anywhere from $25 to $100 a lead. The quality on the local service ads isn't as good, but all I care about is ROI. So that's why in that marketing tracker, we want to know exactly how many leads, exactly how many bids, exactly how many sales. And if your leads to bid conversion is low, I got 62 bids or 62 leads and only 2 bids, start counting why. That's going to be my next question. Why? And if it's like 23 were out of town, like physically I couldn't, like they were in another city, let me know. They were asking for services I didn't offer, like they wanted dry cleaning and I offer window cleaning, like let me know that. But then we'll know how many real leads you got. And often what happens is most of you guys that haven't done marketing before are used to like repeat and referral, where it's like super easy and everything's a lay down and everything's great. And even if you're like, no, they call in, but where did they call in? Like it's probably from a repeat or referral or your website or some super warm traffic that has a very high conversion rate. But the problem is it's not scalable. You can only get so many repeats and referrals in a month, whereas cold traffic is much more scalable, but the quality isn't as good, which doesn't matter, right? Like again, with us, if we take 20 clients this month and we get 300 leads, it's like, well, is the 20 going to make me profitable? Am I going to serve the people I want to serve? If the answer is yes, I don't give a crap if would I prefer to only have to go through 40 as opposed to 300? Sure. But I'd rather go through 300 and get 20 than go through 9 and get 6. So it's okay if you're like the leads quote unquote suck. I don't care about that. All I care about is a positive ROI. So that's where the data comes in, because we can start seeing as a problem from lead to bid, bid to sale. If you're not getting the sale, why? And to me, it's a yellow flag. If they, again, don't worry about if they ask for a price. Just that's why we give you the protocol of how to handle the call. So if you come in, like I role played with Axel, I ain't scared of someone asking me the price. I'm going to reframe them. And if they're like most people, they're not going to say this, but emotionally, like, thank you. I don't know how to shop. All I know how to do is ask for price, because that's all I've ever been taught, or that's all the experience I have. And when you just take charge and be like, hey, you're not here for a price, you're here for a result. And for me to get you that result, I have to get some more information. And obviously if it's too much, you're not going to buy it. So we have to make sure we get two things, not just the price, but the price and the result. So are you okay if we talk about the result and then we'll talk about the price? And if they're both a fit, we'll work together. And if one's not a fit, we won't. See how it's just so eminently reasonable. Even a guy's like price is going to go, well, that makes sense. That's the job of a salesperson, is to really help the guy get a solution, as opposed to just try and sell him some shit.
Okay.
Cool. Is that giving you help, or?
Yeah, no, that helped.
Real quick, Cleaning Nation, if you can think about how you found out about this podcast, maybe a tweet, a Facebook message, iTunes search, some sort of Instagram post, the only way we grow is word of mouth. We don't do paid ads. We don't run ads. You are it. The only ask I have is, if you're getting value, share the love. However you found out about this, if it's a review or post, whatever it is, do that. Pay it forward so the next cleaning company owner can change their life as well. Back to the show. Okay, question. Not always being able to take calls and pricing correctly. I've set up local listings. I haven't set up local listings because I'm not ready to pay for leads, because I can barely answer the phone. Important, by the way, with LSAs, when you generate a lead, especially on residential, they're typically not calling for, they're looking to scratch that itch now. So totally okay. I wouldn't pay for leads either until I had that set up. So is that a question, or are you just telling me?
Yeah, so I guess the main thing would be trying to figure out like a good call answering service. Because I'm not always available by my phone. I work at 9 to 5 right now. I also go to school full time. So, I'm in class and I have my phone ringing and I'm like, oh my goodness, like that could be like a really big client, which has happened several times before, where like I'm like in the middle of something and then I like just walk away to answer the phone, even though it doesn't look like an important call, but then it happens to be like, a $3,000 a month client looking for, daily cleans.
Two things. So. One, let's get you commercial or residential. Two, just hire an answering service. They're, I don't say a dime a dozen, but they're pretty easy to find. Usually they're like $1 a minute or something. So even if you have 400 minutes of talk, which you won't, it's $400. For residential, speed to lead is very important. So if you're not going to be able to do it, I'd pay somebody to do it, or have somebody, a wife or a friend or an employee, hire a salesperson. Commercial, it's not as important. They are not expecting that they're going to sign someone up in the next couple hours. So pick which one you're going to be on. For commercial, I'm going to have the answering service answer all the calls. And like I said, I'll just get to them. If it takes a couple hours to get to them, not a big deal. Even next day is not ideal, but not the end of the world. Residential, you got to have a system to, I shouldn't say you have to be effective, to not waste a bunch of money and a bunch of leads. Someone's going to need to talk to them pretty quickly. But that example I gave of how to handle those calls, there's a training in there that shows how to do that. So as long as someone can do that training, they can just set the calls for you, and you can kind of give them your schedule when you're available, and they can set the in-person time. So you don't actually have to hire a salesperson right off. You just have to give whoever's answering your phone that sales ability.
To be able to set up like the things on Calendly, right? Like, and then we could just send someone out there to go do the walkthrough, like have a call answering service, take the calls, and then, figure out what they're looking to get done, and then setting up the time to do a walkthrough, right?
But I'll just be honest with you. If you can find an answering service that can do that call that we've been role playing, that would be great. But I would find that unlikely. They're probably going to do a bad job with that. I would have someone that I can train, that I trust. You would be ideal, but if you can't do it, they would be next, and they can just hot transfer them. So don't be like, that guy will call you when they're on the phone, transfer them. So I would find a salesperson that maybe just paid per bid that turned into a sale or something. And, maybe it'd only be $500 a month based, what I'm saying? Like, they're only going to have to be available, again, first and foremost, start with residential or commercial, because if you're going to be all in residential, then we can set up all these systems. If you're going to be all in commercial, we don't have to worry about it. And trying to do both is not going to serve you.
Yeah, I would say to move away from residential, but I mean, I would want to find more commercial clients, but like some residentials that I found, they're like several $1,000s for one time, which is good for like a little bonus boost, but like I'm looking mainly for like the
I can
reoccurring.
assure you it's not. It'll long term. Again, you're paying for my experience. I'm telling you, it's like drugs, right? If you have a problem, drugs will make you feel better now, but then the drugs are over and you've got all the same problems you had before, but now you're addicted to drugs. So the same thing with one-time boost. It can give you some cash, but then who's running your business when you're fooling around managing all these, one-time jobs? And also there's a lot of risk involved, right? Because you do a bid and you think you know how long it's going to take, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And it just just like I was talking about earlier, of the cost of having a client. When you do a one-time job, the lifetime value of that client is just so low. And
compared to
and if you look at the market, it'll tell you that there's a reason software companies trade for 7x value, because or subscription-based companies trade for 7 times earnings, and service-based businesses with no contracts that are one time trade for 1 or 2 times earnings. Like the market knows. I can't tell you how much. It's just so hard to scale. And I've never seen a $1 million company that I can recall. I've been doing this for a long time, so it's possible I've seen it. I don't recall a single $1 million company that was doing any normal amount of any measurable amount of one-time cleans. And certainly if I did, they were not making any money and they were working 60 hours a week.
So for the call answering service, for commercial, you would recommend trying to not hire an individual and train them, but
definitely for residential or commercial, hire a service. Because the problem with the individual is he's not going to be available 24/7.
Exactly.
It's just not. And then if he quits, you're just screwed. But if you hire a service, they got 23 people sitting in a room, all available 24/7. If one guy quits, it's all their problem. So no, I don't want to. I always want a service, because if you hire a guy, it's too much of a choke. There's a single point of failure I don't like. If you hire a service, the likelihood that service is going to fire you or go out of business is very low.
And then so I would just give them like the sales script that you kind of talk about, to where.
Well, again, I'm not going to have them do the sales script. I'm just going to, especially on commercial, just have them get you the call. And if you're like, oh, I can't, you can just text you the message, or however they get you your message. And then you can just pick it up in 2 or 3 hours whenever you're available. Because again, commercial is not, speed to lead isn't as important on commercial. It's crucial for residential. For commercial, you don't have to worry about as much.
Gotcha. So have them give me the information, and I follow up with the call to set up the 20 or 30 minutes, right? Uninterrupted and stuff like that.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. You should do that call until you get good at it. And then you can pay a salesperson to do that. Well, no, when you're commercial, you're going to want to generally be going on all your own bids. Cause again, if your average bid's $30,000 a year and they stay 3 years, that's $100,000 sale. I got an hour to do that.
Yeah. Got you. Okay.
Well, here we are at the end of the podcast, and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you for sticking through with me. But like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share it with a friend. Share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431. 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can, as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now, 602-932-6431. Give me a text, say hey, can't wait to meet you.